A sermon by Wigglesworth. Faith is infallible. Faith is either an absolute or it is nothing. There can be no in between. If faith cannot be fully trusted, it is not faith. Faith is not meant to get one in the door, for God to then decide whether to answer or not. If God had not already decided to grant the request, he would not have given the promise. Faith is not turning it over to the will of God. Faith knows the will of God. Turning it over to God is what we call submission. Yes, we are to have a heart of submission, but we are expected to walk in the knowing of faith based upon God's promises, his word alone. Sure, we can have a general trust for our future in the still as yet unknown will of God, but even that is based upon a knowing and a peace in the heart. And by a knowing, I don't mean that you would know everything, which would not require faith, but you know enough to keep moving towards the prize. We are to plant the promises of the word into our hearts. We are then to nurture them and grow them by tending to the quality and depth of the soil of our heart. But it is God alone who decides when and how that harvest will occur. Paul stated, I planted, Apollos watered, but it was God who granted the growth. And in the final harvest occurs when the conditions of the promise and the will of God have been met and satisfied. It is then etched in stone, just as the 10 Commandments were. The writer of Hebrews calls faith the evidence of things not yet seen. Faith is infallible because it comes from God, and God is infallible. The saying, God answers all believing, some yes and some no, is a gross misunderstanding of the concept of Bible faith. The yes and no is resolved before obtaining real Bible faith and then praying the prayer of faith. Faith is not dependent upon the outcome is dependent upon faith. How would one know of a surety to stand firm against the lies of the devil if there was not even a hint of a chance that the answer would be a no? The possibility of a no answer would produce doubt, unbelief, and that doubt and unbelief would tear at the very foundation of your faith. The way to faith is filled with ifs and doubts, but once they are resolved, there lay ahead only a solid, confident road of knowing. Faith knows that the doubts and ifs lay behind and only the answer lays ahead. God doesn't stand in the way of faith. He is the one supporting it. Seek faith in Christ at all costs. It is the evidence of the answer of God.